the team news side of things, Farron Rawson will be back and available, but you're going to lose Tyler Walton at the same time. So one in, one out, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? So, we dealt with it Saturday, and we'll deal with it again. Faz is back, and that's brilliant to have him back, especially in the back line there. So, great for us.
Farron, someone who has played basically every minute of every game that you've had him for. How would you sum up his influence on the place?
Massive. Not just on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. He's got the two young lads either side of him who've come on leaps and bounds with his guidance on the pitch, getting them in the right place, helping them in terms of from a technical point of view, heading the ball and passing the ball and making decision making really. So it's great for them. They've got literally a professor in the middle, and which is Faz, and you've got the two students either side of him.
In the nicest possible way, is he a bit of a throwback to centre halves of years gone by?
100%, that's what he is. That's what he does, and that's why we signed him. He had that loan spell here in the 17-18 season when we won the league, and I could see then he was a proper man, even then. But I knew he'd come on. You could see the potential in him, and to get him back and what he does in this league in terms of both boxes, aggressive in both boxes, and what he brings is fantastic for us.
Just to reflect on the weekend, penalty shootouts are a bit of a lottery, or are they? When you've got a goalkeeper who's got a recent record like yours.
Well, yeah, they are definitely a lottery, but as you just said, when you got a keeper who can actually save them, it is brilliant. So, the mental strength and focus that Billy showed over the time in between both games, if you like the Wimbledon game and then Saturday, to produce what he did on Saturday was fantastic.
So were you confident, John, when it went to penalties and you've got Billy who's pretty good at saving them? Were you thinking, here we go, we've got a good chance here?
Yeah, well, I did think that, but as you just said, Andy, I think it is a lottery, the penalties, so anything can happen. But I think they put that much effort into it in terms of defending. They had the man sent off early on, and then they got a bit of a lift with the goal just before half time. It's set play, and the defenders did defend more so second half, and then into the extra time. It was a long old hard slog for them, but as you said, going to penalties is a lottery. But Billy, in the form that he's in and the save, and he made the penalty save in normal time as well, didn't he? Which is great for him. So they maybe then go into a different mindset, a different mode when they're taking the penalties. And as I said, for Billy to do what he done was brilliant.
It's easy for us in the media to say that it must mean a lot to reach the third round of the Cup. The reality of the situation, John, is at a club the size of this, who money is hard to come by at times, just how almost life season changing is it that you could later on today get a draw that could be such a bonus financially for this club? Well,
it is. The biggest thing is that you're in the hat for that. So, and everything that you've just spoke about there, Andy, it's just massive, and hopefully fingers crossed that happens, for the club, and it'll be fantastic if that does happen.
Yeah, it's a huge thing for any club, isn't it, to reach round 3. When you set out in round 1, it's the only target, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I touched on Saturday, I think, after the game, the post-match, to say about trying to, I think it was getting asked about how I thought the game went, and I wasn't bothered because the objective was just to get into the hat, and we've done that. And then now you can reflect and say, I thought we could play better. We know we've played better. We've set standards and levels here that we know we need to stay. But Saturday was just about getting into the hat, and we got into the hat, and we done it the hard way as well.
You've been part of big cup days here before already, John, haven't you? And the TV cameras have been here for big events. Would the dream scenario be to go away?
I'd love to go away, yeah. Big club away. Premiership club would be great, especially again for the club and the prize money. So fantastic. I'm sure all the lads downstairs will be saying the same thing. They'll all have their own team that they want out the hat. And we're the same as coaching staff. So, my one's Everton, Jed's is Liverpool. So if that happens, great. If not, Man U, Manchester City, be great. Anyone really. But we're just so happy that we're in the draw.
Final season at Goodison would be something special, wouldn't it?
Definitely for me. So my family, we have season tickets. My 2 boys, Joe, Sam, my wife Suzanne. So we all go to games when we can. I'll be there Wednesday, watching us against Wolves. So I'm a fan, so I know what it means. So, to go there and take a little detour past Bramley Moor, the new stadium, so that's coming on, it's fantastic. So to get Everton in the final season at Goodison Park would be definitely a dream come true, as they say.
There's a long way to go between now and then, isn't there? There's some really important league games, and we start that procedure this midweek against Grimsby. What do you make of them, John?
Yeah, so they never played Saturday, a bit like us last Saturday, not playing against Bradford. So You know, we know the challenges that are ahead with Grimsby. We know the threat that they possess. You know, they're in a good moment, a good run of form, if you like. I think they haven't won in the last 3, maybe drew against Newport. I think the last game they won was Wimbledon, 1-0. So Chesterfield have beat them, I think, and then, you know, Colchester beat them the last home game 1-0. So, you know, they're a good side. You know, Dave's got them playing some good football. They're in a good position in the league. So again, it's another good challenge for the boys.
You've got used to not losing, haven't you? That's a good habit, isn't it?
It's brilliant. We're unbeaten. We're unbeaten in November, so which is fantastic. You know, so we've just got to keep that run going. It's just that belief, because, you know, early on in the season when we were playing some really good football and we were scoring goals, but we couldn't keep them out at the other ends, and, you know, we weren't getting nothing for it. And then there was games when we were doing all what I've just spoke about, and then getting draws out of it. So now, you know, the challenge was the Morecambe game. You know, can we get over the line, which we did, and then we've sort of kicked on from there. Teams around us have done okay, but, you know, to go unbeaten again in November is great for the lads.
Do you view Morecambe as that game that potentially has changed your season around?
Well, it has, because that was the challenge at the time. I said to the lads, you know, we had all the stats of all the previous games, but the biggest stats are the scoreline, and we wanted and we needed to beat Morecambe. And that's why I put it down. It was a war. It was a battle, individually and as a team and as a club. And you know, we got over the line, and even more so because they scored a late goal late on, and we thought we might have a wobble, and we got past that scar. You know, that one again. So that was the turning point for us, I think.
You have kept the back door shut a lot more since then, John. Is there anything else that really springs to mind that makes you think we're doing that better? We've done that so much better than potentially we were earlier on.
I think just stop conceding goals. You know, as you said there, you know, if you started to defend, I know Saturday we never had Faz and we conceded 2. And we know the manner in which the way we conceded the 2 goals, and, you know, the lads know, but there's sometimes you can't do nothing about it. You know, if it's you're playing against the first goal Saturday, which was, you know, it was always going to go into Smith, who's 6'6", you know, and you've got 2 young lads, you know, Zach and Sonny Al Joffrey, Zach or that is, if trying to do the best against them. So one has to basically try and win the first contact, they don't, and then the other one has to stop another centre-half going in on the second ball, second phase, and it ends up in the back of your net. So they're learning on the job, as I keep touching on that. So if we can, and we have started to improve on that, if we can do that more and put more goals in the back of the net, because we're creating chances for fun going at the other end of the pitch, and we have scored goals like we did on Saturday. If we can do that more and keep them out, then that's a recipe for success. Is
the big frustration right now, some of the draws that you've had, you're going to look back in time to come and say, should have won? Well, we've done that anyway. So, you know, Andy, we've done that anyway. And we said, you know, we should have, I think it was after we beat Chesterfield 3-0 away, I actually said that should have been a top of the league clash, because the form tells us there's form tables and stuff. So that told us then that we should have been sitting in and around automatic or a playoff spot. The form now is telling us that we should have been second. So, but reality is we got what we got out of the games, and we're sitting where we're sitting. But the good thing about it is we know as a group, as a team, that we stick together and we carry on doing what we're doing in terms of playing the football and affecting the game going that way, scoring goals and keeping the ball at the back of the net, and hopefully we carry on going that way. So a lot of the metrics you're looking at, you're in the top 2 or 3, are you? Yeah. Well, the form table says that in terms of, you know, the points that we should have accumulated. But, you know, we haven't now. We've got what we've got. So we've just got to keep progressing, keep pushing on. And as I said, the next challenge is Grimsby. Into December then. It's going to be a busy month, this, isn't it? It is. I mean, you know, you can't rest. So you've had that game Saturday, it's gone into 120 minutes, it's gone into penalties, and then, you know, you've got Grimsby, and then you've got Bromley on the Saturday, another big challenge. But, you know, it is into a busy month, December, it always is. Then you've got the Christmas period. So the first challenge is Grimsby tomorrow night first. You're really relishing it this month, John, because games are going to come a lot, if the weather's kind, that is, that you're going to be playing quite a number of games over Christmas as well, and a lot of points up for grabs in a short space of time. Definitely, that's what you want. I mean, the lads are chomping at the bit. I mean, you could see the jubilation in everyone on Saturday. You know, goes to penalties. We had young kids on the bench. You know, we had Sheikh on the bench from the youth team, who've done really well in their youth cup game. We had Angiola, who scored 2 goals for the youth cup game and put him down as first penalty. You know, and what I actually did say is, I told the lads who was taking the penalties, but I also said,
if you don't want to take them, tell me. So I put them in the order. So I told Dan Joel he was taking the first penalty. I told Jimmy, I told Ben, I told Nelson. There was only one person who said, which was Ash Hunt, who said, can I have the fifth? So which was fine. Then we went through the pecking order. So when we done that on the pitch, and that's a little insight for the fans, all of them said no problem at all. And for the kid to step up, 17 years of age, and put that penalty in under that pressure at the Clayton ends was fantastic for him. But not just him, you know, Jimmy's penalty was great, Ben's penalty, and then Nelson to win it. It was fantastic, and you could see the jubilation of us, you know, of all the lads after that.
That's enormous faith that you have in a 17-year-old to go first for you, John, isn't it?
Well, Andy, it is, and you're right in what you're saying, but we actually see him day to day, so he trains with us, and the funny thing about that is training with us every day, that he's getting schooled by Farhan Rawson again. So Farhan's the size of Faz to Angiola. You know, he's throwing them all over the place, and you know the kid's getting himself up. He's looking at me. He says, "That's a free kick," and it's not a free kick. Get on with it. And he came on Saturday, and he's basically controlling the ball, linking the play up, and he's doing it well because he knows now what he's been getting taught, if you like, in training from Faz. This is what you're going to come up against. Big, strong centre backs are going to be right in you. So you've got to get your first touch right. You've got to get your next movement right. And as I said, from going to putting the faith in him to take the first penalty, which is what I seen when he played in the Youth Cup on Tuesday night. So he scored with a header, which was fantastic, getting in between the sticks, the 6 yard, and then to actually see him score a penalty, I thought, I know he's got it, but what actually told me from, he was on it. So as soon as he came on the pitch on Saturday, he was on it, I could see. He had his first touch, he had his link-up play, and I thought, he's going from strength to strength. Thought, you know, what was on the pitch, he's going to take the first pen for us.
What's he like as a lad, John?
Quiet, wants to learn, always asking questions, you know, do anything for you, you know, really respectful, and he's a really, really nice, he's a credit to his family, he's a really nice kid.
And in terms of your hopes for him, just how high are those hopes that he will play a big part for you in years to come? He's
got loads of potential, you know, that he's got to fill, but we can see it, so that's the difference, we can see it, you know, and if he keeps going on, he's already scored against Tranmere in the Bristol Street Motors, so, you know, if he keeps developing the way we are, and, you know, there's a few fans ask me similar questions, and I've said, you know, you've got to look after him, you've got to dip them, you can't just throw them in at the deep end, but he's coming on from where we've seen him train, me and Jeb Brannan have seen him train, and getting schooled by Farhan Rawson, that is. You can see the development there, you can see the progression in him.
Just finally on him, is it a really difficult line when you say you can't throw him out there and put him into it every week, even though he's training really, really well and potentially deserves a place? With your background in youth football as well, John, and you'll have seen so many put into it and maybe were brilliant on day one, but on day 10 had tailed off a little bit. How careful have you got to be? You have got to be careful because you've literally just answered that question there, Andy. You have got to be careful because you've got to do it right. You know, there's some that can potentially go beyond the first 10 games, if you like. But you have to be careful because they can come off, the young men, they've got to take a lot of information on board, you know, from a technical point of view and a tactical. So it's not about just being able to play the game. You've got to be able to, you've got to do a role in and out of possession. So there's a lot of information on board that he has to take. We've seen how he's progressing. We're really pleased with how he's developing, and that's, you know, may it long continue.